Welcome to another edition of the Metal Voice.
Yes.
And we've got our favorite guest host of all times,
yes,
Michael Sweet, with us here today.
Hey guys, I know it feels like it's been forever that we haven't talked in a long time, man. What's going on? Usually it's once a month, it seems.
Yeah. Well, you've been quite busy.
I've been busy. I'm trying not to be too busy and take on so much that I compromise quality and whatnot. I mean, if I could, I'd basically go from one album to the next. As a matter of fact, when we finish an album, it's a very awkward feeling for me. I feel like, I just sit there for a few days twiddling my thumbs and kind of, not knowing what to do with myself, because I feel like it should be, and I want it to be, a continuous, process. I just love being in the studio. I love writing music. I love creating. And if I could, if the funds were there and the, there was a way to do it, I would probably put out four albums a year.
Jeez. Old school.
Yeah.
That was like the Beatles.
Absolutely.
10 albums in 11 months.
First off, okay, so I did a poll on Twitter, and I don't know if you saw it or not. To hell with the devil versus Soldiers Under Command, just to see what the fans, again, it's just a vibe, to see which of the fans prefer. And what do you think?
Wow.
Alan didn't see this poll.
Wow,
what do you think, Alan? What would you put it in percentage?
That's hard.
What would you put it in percentage?
I got to go with, I think the people voted for To Hell with the Devil.
Michael, what do you think? What do you think?
I think you're right. I think To Hell with the Devil, and I would pick Soldiers Under Command just because there's something about the rawness of it and the energy of that album. To Hell with the Devil is definitely more commercial and was much more successful, so I would think by popular demand that it's going to win out.
Percentage? Give me a quick percentage, Alan.
60-40.
Michael?
I'm going to go let's say 65-35.
Jesus, you guys are close. It was like 63% to a 37% for To Hell with the Devil. You guys nailed it.
I agree with Michael, because Soldiers Under Command was my first introduction to Stryper.
Yeah.
And that's, the first album you hear is the one you always go back to. So.
Fascinating statistics. Yeah. You guys got it right.
That was cool.
Yeah. All right, so, Alan, go.
Well, we got to go, let's go with Unified. We didn't even have a chance to talk about that. Another Sweet and Lynch composition, another album out there.
Yep.
How was that whole recording process? And were you happy with the results?
Yeah, very happy. I mean, it was a little different than the first. Not much, but a little different in the sense that George sent me more complete ideas. On the first album, they were minute and a half ideas, and it would just kind of shut off after the first chorus, and then I'd have to figure out where to go from there. This time around, they were more complete songs, 3.5, 4.5, 5 minute, or walk, whatever that is, 6 minutes or however long. I think it was originally like 7.5 or 8 minutes, and I did some cutting and editing to make it a little bit more fan friendly, But George spent a little bit more time on the arrangements, and that was really cool. And I didn't have to add any songs to the mix. So, in other words, on the first album, we had, 8 out of the 11 tracks, or 9 out of the 12 tracks, whatever it was. And I had to come up with some songs, those being The Wish, also Recover, and Strength in Numbers. So, I tried to write with all the other songs in mind and make it flow and fit and all that good stuff. This time around, I had everything. George sent me everything, and there was a little less work for me to do in terms of arrangements and writing. I still wrote all the melodies and all the lyrics to George's music, and I did some arranging, and then, of course, produced the album. And, we tried to stick to form. We used the same guys, James and Brian, who, in my opinion, you're not going to get any better than James and Brian in terms of a rhythm section. It's just not going to happen. You can try, but good luck. And we've we wanted to stick with the same lineup. You know, there were discussions about possibly doing something other than that because of schedule conflicts and whatnot, but then it worked out, and thank God it did, because I really wanted to do that and stick with that. So, and, you know, we'll see if there's going to be a third album. I don't know. Not to keep rambling, but, you know, I was supposed to do this thing with Jeff Pilson and Mick Brown and George Lynch, and they asked me to do it, and I got a call from Jeff, and we talked on the phone and basically said, okay, let's do it. And Jeff commented on how great the vocals would be, the harmonies, and, of course, with him singing and me singing and whatnot. And I didn't really hear anything about it for a while, and then I just saw the press release with Robert Mason, and I never heard a peep from the guys or, you know, got any type of call or email or response or anything. So I was a little thrown off by that. I thought, wow, okay, that's interesting. But I wish him the best. I do. You know, Robert's a good friend of mine, and we all know one of the best singers out there. And for whatever reason, that's the way they decided to go, and we'll see what happens in the future.
What about, I know you're friends with Dave Mustaine, and we spoke about this in the past. What about Sweet Mustaine? I would love it. I mean, Sweet Mustaine.
You know, you got to talk to Dave about that. I've mentioned to Dave in multiple texts, hey man, let's write, let's co-write, let's do this, let's do that. And he always invites me out to his place and said, why don't you come to Nashville? And he's always been very gracious. And I just haven't ever been able to get to Nashville, or at least in the past few years, to plan out an actual session with Dave and write. But Dave and I think at some point, I hope, will collaborate and do something together. I love Dave. I respect him. I think he's a brilliant mind and a brilliant musician, and he's a friend of mine. And you know, we share so much in common. And I would love to see that happen. It'd be an honor to write with Dave and do something and take it a step further. Do a song or an album with Dave, and maybe that'll happen someday.
There's a lot of stuff to talk about here in regards to Stryper. We've got documentaries, we've got new albums, we've got new bass player. I mean, Tim's out, Perry's in. What was the whole dynamic happening there?
Well, I mean, you know, we parted ways, as you all know, and with Tim, and you know, we have a new bass player, and he's amazing. I mean, Perry. And the only way I can describe it is we haven't even played with Perry yet. We haven't performed. We haven't recorded with Perry yet. We haven't done anything other than just a one-off, one-time rehearsal, audition, if you will. And he came in. We met him. He stayed the night here at our house with the band, and we hung out with him for a while. And we realized, before we played any music, we realized what an incredible person he is and how much he's going to bring to the table because of that. And, you know, we want to have fun. We want to be happy. And, you know, we're not getting any younger, as we all know. And Perry just is that kind of guy that walks in the room with a big smile on his face. And, you know, just brings a lot of joy into the room and into the party and into the band. And, you know, we love that about him. And then we went down and we played. We went through 5 songs and we heard him sing. He sings like a bird.
Okay.
You know, just
Firehouse,
perfect pitch, nails the harmony, sings the high part above Oz. And
Really?
we're just like, wow, yep, perfect. Let's try another one. Did another one. Yep, that's it. Perfect. Wow. You know, there was no, yeah, let's try that again. No. This is how it goes, man. You know, there was none of that. Yeah.
To join Stryper, and again, I don't want to sound like, you know, smartass here, but do you have to be Christian? Does he have to have that element to be part of the band, to be unified?
You know, you're not being a smartass. I think it's a valid question. And it's funny because we get a lot of crap for our beliefs and for our faith, as you have most recently seen on Blabbermouth, people saying ridiculous stuff like we're a cult, and Oz's statement sounds like something out of North Korea. And, you know, people are always going to make remarks, and There's always going to be haters out there, and really what that comes from and stems from is people who are insecure with themselves, who have never achieved anything, and they're just jealous of the people that do achieve things. So, we'll start there. But to answer your question, no. It might make people gasp. It might shock people, and we might even lose a few fans by hearing Michael Sweet say that. But the reason why I say it's not at the top of the priority list, what is at the top of the priority list is that they're good people, that they're clean, okay, and sober. They're not, gonna come in and have issues with that. No band wants that, and that's going to be probably at the top of any band's list when they're looking for somebody. And that they're really good musicians. And then for Stryper, another really important piece is that they can sing, because we're very vocal. We have a lot of vocals, and that's equally as important as anything else. And there are bass players that we thought about in the back of our mind that we passed on in the back of our mind because they couldn't sing. Yeah. It's a deal breaker for us.
It's a huge part of the sound, exactly.
Oh, big part of the sound.
Yeah, it is.
That's what makes Stryper.
For other bands, it might not be. For us, it is. So it makes it a little more difficult to find somebody. It's not easy to find somebody that can sing and that can play and that is a great person. And now the Christian thing, funny thing is that doesn't always make you a great person.
True that. Yeah.
Some of the biggest idiots I know claim to be Christians.
Yeah.
And then vice versa. Some of the nicest people I know aren't Christians.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't have anything to do with being nice and being a good person. So, is it something that would be really great to see and have? Of course. If someone says, "Yeah, I'm a Christian," and it's funny because Perry has said that he is a Christian, and but we didn't go there. We didn't sit him down and say, "Okay, buddy, so the first question.
Here's the resume. What's the story?"
We got to know right now. Listen, put your hand on the Bible. We got to know. Are you a Christian? I mean,
quote 3 passages from the Bible.
Like that. Nor would it. Yeah. Which kind of disproves all the blabbermouth BS, that we're a cult. And it cracks me up when people say moronic stuff like that. It's just so stupid. We're a rock band.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're not a cult. But anyway, we're happy.
I know Perry wrote for Firehouse. I mean, is he going to be writing, or is he thinking about writing, or talking to you about giving?
No, he hasn't been talking to me yet. I mean, the situation with the album, he had a schedule to fulfill, and we were on schedule to make the album. So there wasn't any way that he could play on the album. So, next time around, we'll see.
Who's playing bass?
We'll see what happens with him in terms of writing. I don't know what kind of songs he writes, what kind of style he writes. I don't think Stryper's going to be recording any time in the near future a song like "I Finally Found the Love of a Lifetime." That's a great song. I love it. It's a hit, but very similar to Honestly. Stryper's just a different band now, and we do ballads still, but. We've taken on a little bit of a different approach musically, and we'll see. We'll see what Perry, throws out there and brings to the table, if anything, and if it's really cool and fitting with what we're doing now, absolutely.
So the new album is completed, and was it Tim that played bass on that?
No. We hired a guy by the name of John O'Boyle who played bass on my last 2 solo albums.
Okay.
And he's a local guy, he lives close to the studio, and again, another just great guy and a really great bass player. And I think when everyone hears the album and hears the bass tracks, his performances will speak for themselves.
And what's a timeline on the new album? Like, what are you looking at? Completion date and release date.
It drops tomorrow.
Oh, okay, good.
No, I'm only kidding. It comes out in April, I believe, late April.
Okay.
I don't know the exact date. I had heard April 20th, and that may be the date. I think it is, but I know late April. We turn it in January 15th. And we weren't supposed to turn in until February 1st, but we're turning in early because we got to fly to Las Vegas a week later and shoot 2 videos. And, so we've got our work cut out for us, man. I can tell you this. If you kind of take the best of a handful of Stryper albums and you kind of roll it up into a big old fat burrito, that's what you're going to get with this album.
Burrito.
You're going to hear on a couple songs, you're going to hear qualities of Against the Law. You're going to hear qualities of Fallen. You're going to hear qualities of No More Hell to Pay. And even To Hell with the Devil and Soldiers. You're going to get the best of all those worlds in one world.
Nice.
And, we have already said this in private. I don't know if we've said it publicly, and people always kind of sneer when they hear bands say this, and I say it for every album, whatever. I really believe it for every album because I'm one of those guys that strives to improve and get better. But this is Stryper's best album. And when it comes out and people hear it, in terms of the songs, the performances, the quality, the audio, the sonic quality, the flow, the feel, the energy, people, I think, will agree. Most people. There are always those people that live in denial and just say, oh, yeah, there's nothing as good as, To Hell with the Devil. And that's because they're kind of stuck in the 80s,
Yeah. 64%.
And that's fine. That's totally fine. I love the 80s, too. I'm stuck in the 80s in some ways as well, and that's great. There's some great music that came from the 80s, but at the same time, I really believe, and I think a lot of our fans, I'll go as far as to say maybe even most of our fans, believe that we're doing some of the best music and making some of the best albums that we ever have in our career.
If we look at the Fallen, who was our choice for the album of the year when that came out, a lot of people agreed with our choice that should have been the album of the year. So that's encouraging.
Well, if you leave sites like Loudwire up to making that decision, we'd never make album of the year.
That's why the Metal Boys always put you metal.
And we've got.
Basically, only our list matters.
What's that?
Only our list matters.
Exactly.
That's our motto.
That's Jim's new slogan.
Exactly. Well, in all honesty, you guys know what you're talking about, and you're really up on everything coming out. You actually listen to the albums, and whether it's Stryper that you pick or another album that deserves to be the #1 pick, at least Stryper gets a mention by you guys.
Yeah.
We're not even. I don't think we're even on the most anticipated album of 2018 by Loudwire, and I just kind of grin and shake my head and just think, we'll just keep doing what we're doing, and like a freight train rolling down the tracks, nothing's going to stop us.
Yeah, because Fallen. I mean, and you're saying this is the best Stryper album to date. I mean, that's big words because Fallen was unbelievable album.
I mean, just Yahweh. We just mentioned that at the beginning of the show, right? Yahweh has got to be the best Stryper song, hands down. But not only the best Stryper song, one of the best metal songs ever to come out. Like, hands down.
I think it's really up there, and it's a really great song. It's got some amazing moments, and this album does too. Is there anything as epic as Yahweh? No. There's something that's close. There's a song that's very close. And it's really different. It's going to surprise a lot of people.
Any names? Titles? Nothing?
Spoilers? I can't give you the title of the album. I wish I could. But it's very controversial, very shocking, and it holds its own. It maybe even surpasses To Hell with the Devil.
Nice.
In terms of that catchphrase.
Okay.
But there's a song called "Take It to the Cross."
Oh, nice.
And we brought in Matt, who plays guitar in Shadows Fall, and also plays bass in Act of Defiance.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And Matt has a great voice.
Yes.
Okay.
So we brought him in on "Take It to the Cross," and on the chorus, you'll hear Matt, and at the end of the song, you'll hear Matt. And people are going to hear it and go, there's no way that's Stryper.
So death metal vocals, that's what you're saying.
Well,
we're going to categorize it like
with that. More in line with thrash/death metal, but not over the top. I'm still going, you know, I'm doing a high part in the chorus. And then he's on there, you know. And it's heavy and it's powerful, and people are going to hear it and go, what the hell?
That's what you got to do, man. You got to evolve. You got to keep evolving. That's how you stay relevant.
Yeah, it's cool, man. And then we've got other songs that are full-on metal and heavy, but super hooky and catchy, and just make you want to tap your foot, and just they pull you right in, man. I'm telling you, this album is making the hairs on my arms stand on end. When I go down and sing the songs, I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, I can't wait for people to hear this.
Good. Because I mean, I remember you saying the same thing about Fallen. This album is going to blow your socks off, and you were right on the mark there. You weren't whistling Dixie. When we listened to that, we knew exactly what you were talking about.
To switch gears into something that's near and dear to my heart, the Stryper Documentary. So I've done a lot of documentaries, but I'm looking forward to this, Michael. I mean, tell us what the story is behind the Stryper Documentary. Just tell us the angle. What's going on?
Well, we started shooting it already while we were making the album, and we're going to continue filming and shooting throughout this year on tour and interviewing lots of people, from pastors who have changed their lives, who are alcoholics and drug addicts, who are now pastors, to celebrities who grew up listening to Stryper, and not just people like Chris Jericho and Dan, Larry the Cable Guy, but people unexpected, people that you're going to watch in the documentary and say, oh my gosh, I never knew they were a fan. And we're going to try to show the side of the effect that Stryper's had on people's lives. Not so much just the music, but we're also going to show a lot of music, live footage, tons of home video footage. We have so much home video footage. It's insane. Old stuff of us playing high schools.
Oh, wow.
In colleges in the early days, to playing clubs, to playing arenas. You know, we've got footage of Rob Halford coming on stage and singing Breaking the Law with us.
Nice.
You know, so there's a lot of really cool stuff that people are going to watch and be completely blown out of the water by and say, oh my gosh, I had no idea.
So the whole angle is Stryper, the band you thought you knew, but you didn't.
Exactly.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's going to be pretty awesome. And, you know, we want to interview a lot of people, obviously. We've got our work cut out for us. We're going to be working on it for the next few years. It won't be out. It won't come out for a while, you know. By the time it comes out, hopefully we're all still alive. You know?
So the album's coming out mid-April, and then the summer tour, right?
Yes.
And hopefully
we're going over and doing a show in April in Italy. Frontiers. We're headlining the Frontiers Rock Festival.
Wow.
And we come home, and we have like 2 days off, and then we go right into the tour. So it's going to be amazing, man. We're excited. We've got 2 ground runs, one in May into June, and one in October into November.
Okay.
And then in between that, we've got a ton of fly dates. So we're going to be probably playing this year more than any year in the past 15 years.
We anxiously awaiting a Montreal date.
Yeah.
You know what, dude? We're working hard on that. And if we don't get to Montreal, what's close to Montreal?
Ottawa, Quebec City.
So we got
Vermont.
to get somewhere.
Toronto's a little far. You know, Toronto's like 6 hours.
Yeah, Boston's closer to us than Toronto.
But we got that whole border issue.
Somewhere in Vermont, maybe.
Okay, well, look, you guys keep tabs on our schedule.
We will.
And we got to get you out to a show, and if we do, maybe you can come up and introduce the band, and you know, we get you up on stage, you know?
You come to Montreal, we'll introduce the band. How's that?
That would be awesome.
And now what's happening in the world of Michael Sweet solo side?
Yes, how many, limited edition, is that it?
It's
DVDs? Non-stop Sweet.
Well, you know what? Look, I did this show at the Narrows, and Andrew was kind enough to film it. And we decided to just release it through our website, no label, no team working it. We just threw it up and made it available at the website. And I tweet and Facebook about it occasionally. It's a limited run, 1,000 copies of the DVD, the live, and there's a lot of new interview footage of me, and I tell stories behind each song.
Okay.
A lot of stuff that people don't expect or would never know, you know. And then also there's some rare Stryper footage in there too, back in the old days, unseen, never before seen. And it's really cool, man. It's just me and an acoustic guitar intercut with stories and footage, and people so far who have ordered it and have seen it, they love it. And they're just saying it's far better than they expected, and they really seem to appreciate it, and I had fun doing it. I'm already prepping, and I've had discussions with Joe over at Rat Pack, Joe O'Brien, Rat Pack Records, and we're talking about a new solo album already.
Okay.
That'll be recorded this year. We obviously have the new Sweet Lynch album that just came out on Frontiers, and the new Stryper album coming out in April. And then Joe Holkstra and I are going to be seeing each other in Las Vegas and having a sit-down, and we're going to try to really pencil in some sort of confirmation for our album. We're going to do an album together.
Oh, my God.
I've talked to a number of other people about working with, you know, I've talked to Gus G about working together, and he seemed pretty excited about that possibility. I want to branch out and try some different things, you know, some unexpected things where people say, wow, I didn't know Michael could do that stuff, you know?
So let me summarize here. New bass player. Let me summarize everything here. New bass player, new Stryper album in April, Stryper Documentary in a few years, Sweet and Lynch, we're talking about it. Michael Sweet limited edition DVDs, pick them up at Michael Sweet's website, and I'd assume the Stryper website.
Michael, you want to give us how people can order? Where they have to go to order that, please?
They can go to michaelsweet.com, and up in the upper right-hand corner of the site, there's a little link that says Store. They click on that link, and the minute they click on that, they're going to see Soul. And they'll be able to just click on that and place an order. I think they're like $19.99 or $20, and it's worth every penny, man. It's a really cool DVD, and like I said, there's only 1,000. There's not that many left.
Better get out there. Better start calling.
Yeah, I think there's only a few hundred left, a little less than that. So it's going fast, man, really fast. So get your copy now. Don't wait, and we have no plans of repackaging or repressing anything. We may eventually make it available to download down the road, but I mean, there's not even a guarantee of that. So,
is there anything else you'd like to add?
Is there anything else? What else?
I don't know. What else can there be?
I'm going to be doing an album with Bruce Dickinson and Rob Halford.
There you go. Oh, there's
the Three Tremors.
The Three Tremors.
No, man, I'm only kidding. I don't want to get in trouble with those guys. I love those guys. Those are probably my two favorite singers of all time.
Well, since you brought it up,
I respect them so much. They're just so awesome, and they're still going, man, and they still sound amazing, mind-boggling.
And it is a good read. Bruce Dickinson's brand new, I guess you would call it autobiography.
Yep.
Yeah, man, and you know, I haven't picked that up yet, but I'm going to. Because I just respect Bruce so much, not only as a singer and a frontman, but as a leader, as you know, someone that's overcome obstacles and just has beaten the odds. And I just think, wow, man, this guy's got such a spirit, man. And I want to read his book. I really do. I think it's going to be amazing. And you know, someone I respect a lot.
What about your thoughts on the passing of Malcolm Young? AC/DC.
Oh man, you know, anytime we lose someone like that, it's sad. But Malcolm kind of takes it to a different level because, you know, he in my opinion, he's such a legend, and you know, in probably the greatest hard rock band of all time. And they had, you know, accomplished so much, and he was kind of that unseen hero. You know, Angus got most of the attention, you know, in terms of guitar playing and the musician in the band. But, you know, Malcolm was really the driving force behind the band because he was so tight and had such a great sense of timing and rhythm. And he's such a great player. And to have lost him, it's really sad, man. And he was so young.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody in the community was hit hard with that one. So.
Yeah, it's just a lot of these guys that we're losing, these musicians, they're in their 50s and 60s, and I'm just thinking, man, you know, people shouldn't be going until they're in their, you know, 90s or hundreds. But that's just the way my mind thinks. I just think, gosh, they're so young, man, and it makes it even that much more sad.
Exactly.
All right, that's pretty much it. Well covered. Thank you for being on the show again.
Yeah, thanks again.
Hey, guys, always a pleasure. And I apologize for not being great to respond. You guys try to reach out to me, and I've been just in a different world lately, just like a blur. But I always love you guys. I appreciate your support. You've always been there. And I can't even tell you how much it means to me and the band. It's really amazing.
Well, it means a lot to us, too.
We appreciate it. Put another log on the fireplace now, get some hot cocoa going, and you'll be set for the day.
Absolutely. I'm going to get some hot cocoa going now. I'm going down to sing another Stryper song today.
Oh.
And then I've got 2 more to do over the next 5 days, and I go up to the studio next week. So it's crazy. But, man, I wish I could play it for you and you could hear it. It's really cool stuff. It's exciting times.
Looking forward to it.
All right, my friends. You guys stay warm in Canada, and God bless you. And you guys have a great New Year. Happy New Year.
Same to you and your family, Michael.